Family emergencies can really become a true test of character and allegiance when they do pop up. Now, am I an asshole for not looking after your bratty kid because you failed to raise them right? Who knows, but let's read this first story today so you can decide. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now, if you love today's bloody contentious topics, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Let's go. Am I the asshole for not watching my brother-in-law's kids in an emergency? So my husband and I have been together for more than a decade. We met in high school and were childhood sweethearts. We used to have a good relationship with his older brother and sister-in-law until I refused to have their kids over anymore without their supervision. What happened was 2 years ago, I was taking them once or twice a week after school or for an occasional day at the weekend to spend time with their cousins, mine and my husband's kids. It was good because they would have our kids occasionally too, but over time, brother-in-law's kids got harder and harder to have in our home. They became very demanding, very rude, rebellious, wouldn't listen to anything I said, and my husband's brother and his wife ignored me. At the worst, we had the then 9-year-old yell F off to my face in McDonald's because they didn't have the burger he wanted, and got in another McDonald's on the menu there. And he was pissed. Another worst was the kids taking my debit card to order pizza when they were spending the night at our house. My husband caught them just in time. Every single thing, my brother-in-law and his wife dismissed our concerns, and so I put a stop to it. A few days ago, my brother-in-law's wife had a medical emergency, and he called and asked if I would take the kids. I said no. I honestly couldn't do it again. He's pissed because they needed help and we were closest to him, and he had to wait for his parents to come and watch them. My husband's parents think I was wrong to say no. He thinks I was right though. Am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. Given the circumstances, I can see why I might have been wrong to say no to watching the kids. I didn't even really offer any help, I just said no. Oh man, this is a messy situation, but I think I'm on your side in this one. I'm gonna say not the asshole. I don't think you should have to look after these kids. I understand it's an emergency, but there are other people that the kids haven't pissed off that can look after them. I guess if the medical emergency was serious enough, I'd lower my guard and say, let the kids just, be held at your house and then have those grandparents come pick them up from there, just to make sure that someone doesn't die in the meantime. That seems like a morally just thing to do, but regardless in this situation, I think you're not the asshole. Now in the comments, Award72401 says, not the asshole. If they want people to help them out with the kids, they need to teach their kids to be respectful and not steal. Not the asshole. You reap what you sow. If brother-in-law and sister-in-law couldn't be asked to manage their own kids and have them treat you with respect, then they only have themselves to blame. They should have thought about the fact they could be needing your help in the future, while they dismissed their kids' behavior as nothing. It's not as though they didn't have other options, for example, the brother-in-law staying with his kids, taking the kids with them if this was a trip to the ER, asking a neighbor, or calling the grandparents, which they did. Serato says, everyone sucks here. Your in-laws need to learn to parent their kids better. Their brushing off their children's behavior and the refusing to correct the behavior is what put them in the position to begin with. At the same time, it's a medical emergency, and this is family we're talking about. Taking the kids for an emergency is not opening the door for it to become a regularity again. It's literally a one-time thing. And if the kids still behave like brats, then you tell the in-laws up front that they are going to have to find different arrangements if there is another emergency because of their kids' behavior. That might be the kick in the pants they need. And who knows, maybe you would find out that the kids finally learned to behave properly and the emergency could have turned into a positive experience for the whole family. No. Just no. She had already put a stop to it. Brother-in-law should have had an alternate emergency contact set up already for a situation like this. It's not up to OP to deliver a kick in the pants to the brother-in-law's children. OP is not the asshole, of course. You're the asshole. Sorry. In an emergency, you step up. It's no time to hold grudges. I'd tell them the rules up front, and also I'd see this as an opportunity to mend some fences. not only with the adults, but the kids too. And our next post by user Lejo2973 is titled, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to give up my cat, even though my fiancé is allergic?" Now, I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. Me and my fiancé moved in together in 2019. I've always been a pet person, my fiancé is not. And finally, he agreed to let me get a cat last year, provided I do all the work to take care of it. I agreed and happily feed the cat, clean the litter box, take him to the vet, etc. Shortly after we got the cat, my fiancé started having allergies. Nothing life-threatening, but he says that he has trouble sleeping at night due to a stuffy nose. He takes medicine and everything, but says that sleep is still hard. He gets about 7 to 8 hours of sleep almost every night, which is how much he slept before we got the cat, but says that he always feels more well-rested when not sleeping in our apartment. I suggested he go to the doctor to look at other options to deal with the allergies, but he won't set up an appointment. The allergies don't bother him at all during the day, so I think he just forgets about it. I am constantly vacuuming, washing the sheets, not letting the cat into our bedroom, etc., in order to try and help, but pet dander is next to impossible to get rid of. After a particularly bad night of sleep, my fiancé asked me to rehome the cat. I refused because I think it's wrong to give up an animal unless absolutely necessary, and we both made a commitment when we adopted the cat. Also, I think my fiancé's allergies are something he can live with, since he usually gets enough sleep, and I felt like he hasn't tried every option to deal with it better. The cat is also a rescue, and has been abandoned before. As a result, he is very attached to me and follows me everywhere. I would feel absolutely terrible giving him up, because I know he wouldn't do well with the adjustment. My fiancé is upset because he feels like I'm choosing the cat over him. I hate that he's not sleeping as well as he could, and I really want him to be as comfortable as possible in his own home. But at the same time, I can't imagine giving up the cat. Am I the arsehole? Look, to be honest, I'm going to say you're the arsehole, because this is having such a detrimental effect on his sleep and his health. If you want to solve this problem and keep the cat, it seems like one of your only options here is either get rid of the boyfriend or get rid of the cat. You can't have your cake and eat it too in this situation, and it doesn't seem like your boyfriend is going to continue to be too happy in this house if you continue to put the cat over him. So for that reason, I'm gonna go you're the arsehole. Now in the comments, I'm not sure how to vote here, but I may be able to help. My boyfriend is highly allergic to cats, and I have a cat that was coming with me when I moved out. After some research, I found this food that reduces the allergens in cats. I put my cat on it about 2 months before we moved, and my boyfriend has barely had any reaction to her. She even sleeps in our bed. It's called Purina Pro Plan Live Clear. I honestly think it works, and it doesn't hurt to try. From what I read, it takes about 30 days to work, but they also have a waterless shampoo that's supposed to help. I would highly recommend it. You're the arsehole. Your partner agreed to the cat before he realized that he was allergic to the cat. Your partner's health should be the priority here. By choosing the cat, you're forcing your fiancé to unnecessarily medicate himself for potentially the next 18 plus years of his life. Allergy meds don't always alleviate all allergy symptoms and are expensive. Are you splitting the cost of the allergy medication with your fiancé? Also, sometimes prolonged exposure to an allergen can worsen allergies. Does your fiancé have to be hospitalized before you decide that his allergy is bad enough to rehome the cat? You have a choice. Either rehome the cat or break up with your fiancé so that he does not have to be miserable in his own home. The partner's health is the priority, but guess what? OP can't make him go to the doctor. If it was really that big of a concern to him, why hasn't he gone to the doctor? He hasn't even attempted to explore other options. It's just, nope, get rid of this living, breathing animal that we take care of. Sure, the fiancé should go to an allergist, but as someone who suffers from allergies, including a cat allergy, the solution will most likely be stronger prescription medication or shots that may not completely mitigate his symptoms. So fiancé will still have to pay to unnecessarily medicate himself. And you're the asshole for getting a cat in the first place when you knew your fiancé didn't want one. It sucks that you're attached to it now, but you would be the asshole if you prioritized an animal's feelings over your future husband's allergies. It's not like this is your pet of 10 years and your new boyfriend wants to do away with it. He was willing to compromise so you could have a pet, but is asking for your sympathy now that it's impacting his life and his health. You're supposed to love each other. How would you feel if he disregarded something which was affecting your sleep and health because you hadn't tried everything yet, or he didn't think it was bad enough? Also, allergies often intensify when you're continually exposed to allergens. This might keep getting worse and worse for him. Our next post is by user abbreviations Annie357, titled, "Am I the asshole for correcting my fiancé's friend when she said she was the reason my wife and I are together?" So I met my partner, Kat, a year ago. My friend Dan was dating her friend Meg at the time, and we met through them. Or more accurately, Dan knew that I was having a hard time with women, so he really talked me up, which led to Kat asking me out herself. She makes me so unbelievably happy that I popped the question on our anniversary. And thankfully, she said yes. Meg obviously doesn't like me. Dan has confirmed this, and Kat has admitted that, when we first started dating, Meg was actively trying to get her to break up with me. I'm obviously glad my fiancé ignored her at the time, but the idea of it still annoys me. We were having a get-together to celebrate our engagement with some of our friends and family when I overhear Meg bragging to some of my step-siblings that she introduced us, and so, hardy-ha, in a way, she's the reason that everyone was there. I went up to the group and told them the full truth, making things awkward enough that Meg made up an excuse to go home early. My fiancé is upset with me. She doesn't think that I should have confronted Meg so openly and made our guests uncomfortable over a minor white lie. She doesn't expect me to apologize, but she wants me to promise not to do something like that again. I'm still not convinced that I was in the wrong though. Am I the asshole? Look, I would say not the asshole for this one, but I do think that you going up and doing that was unnecessary, at least in the heat of the moment there. If you did make things awkward enough that Meg made up an excuse to go home early, then I feel like, in a way it's not particularly respecting your fiancé and her friend's friendship. Even though I know that you hate Meg, that's fair enough. You still have to take your fiancé's feelings into consideration in this situation, because these actions affect that friendship directly, and then it also affects her relationship with the rest of the people that were around that. So because of this, I think you could have handled this later on, or you could have just let it go and been the bigger man in this situation, but you didn't. You chose the petty option to combat her pettiness. I'm going to say that everyone sucks here in this situation. Now in the comments, Snow White Sludge says, "Everyone sucks here, except the fiancé and Dan. Sometimes you just gotta let things go. The only thing you accomplished is making people uncomfortable at a group event that was supposed to be celebrating your love for your fiancé. She was lying, yes, but what were you hoping to gain other than making her uncomfortable and disliking you even more? You were both assholes." Perfectly said. OP, tell your future wife that you won't do it again. It just means not making a scene over mild slights. Meg wasn't trashing you at your party. She was bragging, i.e. saying, that you were a good couple and you made it awkward for everyone. These people aren't going to be talking about how cute you two are, they're going to be talking about how awkward it was. You could have just let her slide and everyone would have lovely memories of your party. This is particularly important for the wedding. It's just not worth getting upset over. Instead, be happy and live your best life. I disagree. I think everyone sucks here, including the fiancé and Dan. Meg sucks for obvious reasons. OP also made the situation seriously awkward for everyone in the room when he confronted her. However, if fiancé and Dan expected OP to continue to hang out and be cool with Meg, maybe they should have kept that information to themselves. It's kinda crappy to tell OP, this girl doesn't like you and actively tried to break up our relationship, but we're gonna keep inviting her around and you need to be cool with that. Why is she invited to the celebration of a relationship that she tried to break up? Why would either of them tell OP about what she did if they wanted to continue hanging out with her? They created this awkwardness by telling OP that Meg didn't like him and actively tried to convince his now fiancée to break up with him, but continued to hang out with her. They created a bubble that was bound to burst. Even Dan, though? I read it as Dan was dating Meg at the time, implying they are no longer dating. Maybe we could at least cut Dan some slack. Sweet Dan, someone check on Dan. Everyone sucks here apart from your fiancé, and on balance, you slightly less. You could have confronted her privately, or decided to be the bigger person and let it go, but you made a scene and made things awkward. Meg sounds pretty awful, so I can see why you were annoyed, but at a party isn't the right time. I seldom ever agree with being the bigger person, and this is no exception, but correcting her in a way that wrecks the mood at your own party is a serious dick move. Not so much to Meg, but to everyone else who had to deal with the fallout, and so agreed on everyone sucks here. Not the asshole. Meg was trying to take the credit for your happiness, even though she had a history of trying to sabotage your happiness. She chose the public setting for her lie, and you ended it. Yup. While I think OP didn't have to go ham, I would have said something to clear that shiz right up too. And our next post is by user Cat's Deli, titled, "Am I the asshole for saying that someone else's kid's allergy isn't my problem and leaving a restaurant?" So to celebrate my son's graduation, and with most people around here being vaccinated, I took the family to the local hibachi for some dinner. My family of 4 sits down, and soon we are joined by another family of 4. They are nice enough, and when the time comes to order, the father says that one of his daughters has a dairy allergy and asks that her food be made without butter. The waitress says, no problem, we will make everyone's without butter. The father says her allergy isn't that serious, and as long as her serving has no dairy, it should be fine. The waitress repeats, we will make all the food at the table without butter. I say that we would like butter with ours, and she replies, sorry, at hibachi we make all of the food together, and we cannot risk her getting sick, so all of the food needs to be made without butter. I reply that we are not even together. Plus, I say you can make the food in the back. There is no rule that the food needs to be made together. The father agrees with me and says they do it all the time. At this point, the waitress says they are very busy and they can't do that. So I got up and said we're leaving because someone else's allergy should not affect my dining experience. Then went to a different hibachi restaurant 10 minutes away. My wife says that I was an asshole because I ruined my son's graduation dinner, and I should have been more thoughtful to the girl's needs. Plus, now the restaurant lost a reservation. My point is that the girl's needs could have been met in other ways by the restaurant. Plus, my son likes his butter. Look, I'm not going to say that you're the asshole in this one, I just think that's very petty, but at the same time I also agree with you. Someone else's allergies should not affect your dining experience. No one was being a Karen in this situation besides the server. I get why the server was doing what they were doing, but you can easily just say 1 table butter, 1 table no butter. Capiche? Yet the server seemed incapable of that. Now, we don't know just how busy the restaurant was, but even if it is busy, I'm sure the chefs could take the time out of their day to put 1 butter in someone's table and not in another table's dishes. And if they weren't able to do that, I do think that leaving the restaurant was the good thing to do. It stops you guys from missing out on butter, and it stops the other table from potentially having butter in their meals. So I'm gonna say not the asshole. Now in the comments, hello all, goodbye all says, not the asshole. Even the father agreed with you. The staff were just avoiding having to do 2 lots of cooking. Yeah, considering the hibachi place wasn't overcrowded, it wouldn't have been too much of a strain to accommodate both families' needs, especially with the mutual agreement. I'm going for a straight not the asshole too. Everyone sucks here, after more info below. Agreed here, but I can't help but wonder what the son was thinking about his dad making them leave during his celebration. At that age especially, I'd rather have had food without butter than my parents throwing a fit and making us leave, finding a new place and waiting longer for dinner, etc. It sounds like this is way more about the dad wanting his butter than any consideration for the son. And edit, OP mentions below that he asked the son if he minded leaving, but didn't tell us the kid's response, and that's a really loaded way to ask it in the first place. I think that tells us a lot. It's definitely all about the dad here. Seems like everyone is crappy except the other parent and daughter. Agreed with this. As the daughter of someone who would pull stunts like this frequently, I can assure you that his son's night was probably ruined. Probably the other families too, who probably felt guilty about the whole thing. Yeah, but who said he threw a fit? You can disagree without a scene. You can also leave without a scene. Honestly, that closing line about "my son likes his butter" gives me asshole vibes. I wasn't at the hibachi, I don't know how it went down, but I can imagine that dad handled the situation in a way that he isn't innocent. If, when put in an aggravating situation, we don't act like Mother Teresa, we're an asshole? The father was irritated, and his choice of words expresses his irritation. Nothing wrong with saying that his son wants his butter, because per OP's comments, that is exactly what his son said. Some users on this forum like to nitpick and focus on the unimportant details. At the end of the day, even if the son had not said that he wants butter, the father saying that, in a moment of irritation, is not an issue. Not the arsehole. The only arsehole here is the waitress. The father of the other family was fine with all of these suggestions that you gave. I say you should also follow up with the restaurants through social media, or phone, or email. The waitress isn't the arsehole. She can't do crap about the kitchen's rules or the manager's rules. Well then, the kitchen/manager's rules just lost a bunch of money for the restaurant. I think it seems like she didn't want to tell the kitchen they had to cook a separate meal for whatever reason. Or she just thought that this was better. But it is not standard practice to change everyone's meal just because one person needs something else. I can't have any kind of meat for health reasons, and my food is always separate, but I'd be angry that the restaurant tried to change everyone else's food because of me. That's not fair to anyone. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.